Radhe Radhe. Today is Saturday, 31st August 2024. One more month of 2024 is just about to end, but we, of course, had our Bhagavad Gita study session and benefited from the collective participation of everyone who joined us. Here with me for this recap video is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe.
So I'll bring up the screen. We'll see the list of the two verses that we covered today. That's chapter 9, verses 26 and 27. Before that, of course, we had our recap quiz covering material from last week. So that was chapter 9, verses 22 through 25. So go ahead, please take a look at the description for this video, look at the slides available on the community portal, and familiarize yourself with those questions or try them again and again for your benefit and practice. Today now, we shall get started with chapter 9, verse 26.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha.
So chapter 9, verse 26, the catchphrase is simple. It's a question, and we all hopefully know the answer after today's class. Flower or fruit? Well, on one hand, you pick whichever one you have access to or whichever one you can get. That's totally fine. But actually fine means there's certain qualities that are needed with that. So we have to be a devotee, of course. We have to offer whatever it is with love and with pure consciousness for Sri Krishna to accept and appreciate that gift. So it could be the most beautiful flower or the best, sweetest, tastiest fruit. If it's not done with that offering of love, devotion in pure consciousness, then it doesn't matter. It's of no meaning to Sri Krishna. On the other hand, it could be super simple. We may think materially of very negligible or insignificant value, but done with that bhav, that sentiment, love, devotion, pure consciousness, that is, of course, something that Sri Krishna truly, truly admires and appreciates. So that's the question, the catchphrase for everybody to ponder, of course, regularly. The commentary, as we saw, has a lot of examples from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, etc. Even the next verse we covered today has a lot of different quotes or shlokas. So Mummy will talk a little bit about those, of course, when we get to that in a few minutes. Very briefly, I want to make sure people understand a couple of the English words we covered. Propitiate, we have seen it before. It often comes up in the context of the celestial gods. And so propitiate basically means to win the favor of. So often people are performing rituals or making offerings to the celestial gods to propitiate them, to win their favor, so that they are bestowed with usually material benefits or rewards. And then we saw with the example of Vidurani, she was benumbed, or her intellect was so benumbed. Coming from perhaps numb, in this case, she or her intellect had become powerless, or they were rendered senseless because of her intense devotion and bhav while offering the banana peels, in this case, to Sri Krishna. So those are just a couple of English words to keep in mind. Of course, as we mentioned, everything, anything we offer, flower, fruit, leaf, or even water, Sri Krishna lists those examples. He says you get access to whatever it is, as long as you can offer that with love, with devotion, in pure consciousness. He absolutely admires and appreciates that. So that is something that's really essential. Swamiji does mention the word bhaktya has been used in both the first and the second lines of the verse. We showed that in class, bhaktya prayachati, and then tadaham bhaktya uparitam. So keep that in mind as well, bhaktya here being extremely important from the angle of bhakti and devotion. I will end the commentary for this, or the explanation for this verse, by, of course, reminding everyone about a couple of visual instances or pictures to keep in mind. As we had said, the flyer for today's session, you have this hopefully pretty picture. You've got your gift box, flower, fruit, leaves, water. Everything is there. So on one hand, we think, wow, this is great. The question is, which of your gifts delights God the most? Any of these, as simple as they might be, if offered with love and devotion, God absolutely is delighted. Otherwise, all of these can be offered, and we think, wow, we're making such a great material offering of something that God Himself has given to us. But if not done with love, with devotion, in pure consciousness, then it's not going to delight God, of course. And the other image to keep in mind, as we mentioned, it's been around for many, many weeks now in chapter 9. Maybe we realized it or we didn't, but the cover slide, as always, flower, leaf, fruit, water, all that is represented here to help us connect with the essence of chapter 9, verse 26, and the broader purpose as well. In fact, the apple here has a heart in it. One may think, oh, it's bitten, it's eaten out of it, but it is to represent that love, that devotion. And in fact, I'm going to put a homework question to everyone. Take a look, go through your notes or memories, and then post in a comment if you can. Which episode do you remember from anywhere in the scriptures, which also has an instance of somebody perhaps eating or biting into something and then offering it to the Lord? Please go ahead and put your comments in the description below. Next up, we're going to see chapter 9, verse 27.
Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam.
So chapter 9, verse 27, Sri Krishna expands upon chapter 9, verse 26, where he had said, here are a few examples of what to offer and how to offer to him. Here, he in fact says, special offer, that's the catchphrase. That is, of course, for us to think about what else we can offer. Anything we want to offer, we want to make it special. We don't want to just keep getting, we want to give. So we want to offer. And in fact, he says, it is to do with anything that we are performing, any work, any activity, thoughts, austerities, oblations, gifts, everything under that big umbrella, all ought to be offered to Sri Krishna himself. Because as Mummy had reminded us in class, he is the sole enjoyer of everything. We get everything from him, energy, rewards, gifts, whatever it is, and he is the sole enjoyer. Everything is for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. So Swamiji in the commentary gives examples, of course. Again, as we mentioned, there are a few shlokas, but he clearly stresses the fact that many people might think, oh, this aspect of devotion, and therefore even consciousness or offerings to the Lord, are to be done only in the periphery of the temple room or a temple itself. But that is not correct. We want this to be constant. 24/7. That's where that element of consciousness comes about. So as we change our attitudes, our mindsets, trying to think about the Lord everywhere, Sri Krishna all around us, therefore anything that we are doing, performing, thinking, offering, can eventually be with that consciousness and bhav, that sentiment of being offered to Sri Krishna. Couple of words here. Attitude metamorphosis. So here, metamorphose, that is to do with change, and specifically with changing of an attitude or character. And then one other word is secular, that many of you are familiar with. Secular, of course, referring here to something that is related to the world versus to religion or spirituality. And a very important quote by Swami Vivekananda, no work is actually secular or worldly or related to or being opposed to spirituality. In fact, everything is devotion and service. One last thing I'll say is, again, in terms of a pictorial representation, make this connection to chapter 3, verse 13. The spiritually minded who eat food that is first offered in sacrifice are released from all kinds of sin. So look at the benefit there. In contrast, others who cook food for their own enjoyment verily eat only sin. So we saw long ago as well that at least in the instance of food, if we can offer it first to the Lord, then we're of course released from sin. Here today, we are certainly seeing that all this helps us be working in that consciousness and direction towards performing everything for the pleasure and enjoyment of Sri Krishna. All right, Mummy, it's over to you, chapter 9, verses 26 and 27.
Thank you, Gagan. So verse 26, we'll start looking first with the two Sanskrit words. One is bhakti upahritam. That means offered with devotion. Another word is prayat atmanaha. That means one in pure consciousness. So now let's look at what Krishna is saying with these two important words. Krishna is saying that instead of going through elaborate Vedic rituals, which needs a big list of things of oblations and offerings, he's making it very simple for us. He's saying, if you offer me just a leaf, a flower, a little water, but with bhakti upahritam, that means offer it with loads of devotion, and prayat atmanaha, with pure consciousness. So these two ingredients are very important. Offering with devotion and having a pure consciousness. So he makes it, Krishna is revealing himself, his merciful divine nature, that he gets pleased with something very, very little. So in Bhakti Vilas, there is a verse which explains this. Tulasi dal matrena jalasya chulukena cha vikrinite swam atmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktvatsalaha. That means if you offer just a tulsi leaf, chuluken water, just the water which you can hold in your palm, either a fruit, a leaf, Sri Krishna says he will be happy with that. And in Bhagavatam, Krishna recited this verse also. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So now what was the reason that he talked about this verse? The reason was, it is a story from Mahabharata also, when Krishna had gone to make peace with Duryodhan, but Duryodhan offered him 56 kinds of food with loads of pride. Krishna did not like that. And he was supposed to visit Vidur's house also. But Vidurji had gone to buy stuff as there was nothing at home. But Krishna, since he didn't like Duryodhan's pride, he reached Vidur's house earlier. Now Viduraniji, she became benumbed, so powerless and with so much intense bhav. She had only bananas at home. She started feeding him. But what was she feeding? She forgot. She was throwing the fruit of banana and she was just feeding him the peels. And he accepted it lovingly. And that is why every day when in our temple we do this Bhog Aarti, whereby we are requesting Krishna to accept the Bhog which we are offering. So we sing, Bhavaheen Duryodhana Vyanjana Nahi tuk man bhayo rasiya भाव भरा केले का छिलका विदुरानी घर खायो रसिया अब ना और तरसाओ रसिया आओ आओ भोग लगाओ रसिया. So if you offer him something with loving devotion and pure consciousness, he accepts it pleasingly. We will look at verse number 27. The words I have chosen is tapasyasi. Tapasyasi means the austerities you perform, and mad arpanam as an offering to me. So Shri Krishna is now giving us another formula. He says, just make your consciousness like that, that everything you are doing, whatever you are doing as your duties in different stages of life, whatever you are doing, do it as an offering to Shri Krishna. That you are, because Shri Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. He is the one giving energy to this whole universe. What can we offer him? we cannot offer him anything. All we can offer him is our love. So whatever we do, whatever work we do, make it as an offering to Shri Krishna. So Swamiji has given us different verses from scriptures with which explain all this. So in Narad Bhakti, it says, Naradastu tad arpita khilacharata tad vismarne param avyakulateti. That means devotion means offering every activity to God and feeling intense separation if we ever lose remembrance of God. And everything we have to dedicate and mentally deliver to God. That is called Arpanam. And Saint Kabir has said, he says, जहाँ जहाँ चलूं करूं परिक्रमा जो जो करूं सो सेवा जब सोऊं करूं दंडवत जानू देव न दूजा. That means wherever I walk, I feel that I am circumambulating the Lord's temple. Whatever I do it as a service to God. When I sleep, I meditate on the sentiment that I am offering obeisance to God. So in this way, I remain united with Him all the time. And so there's another verse from Bhagavatam, beautiful one. Kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana vanusrita swabhavat karoti yat yat sakalam parasmai narayanaeti samarpayetat. That means whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, and intellect, in accordance to one's individual nature, should be offered to the Supreme Lord Narayan. So this is what we have to understand, that make it as a way of your life. Walking, sleeping, working, doing anything, just do it for Sri Krishna and offer it to God. While cooking, have that beautiful bhav that I'm cooking this food for Sri Krishna. While tending to flowers, have that bhav that I'm going to offer these flowers to Krishna. While taking care of children, see Krishna in them and offer your loads of love and affection. While cleaning your house, think about that Krishna is going to visit us. So every aspect of your life, make it as an offering to Sri Krishna. Over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mummy. Lots to learn there, and you've given again a reminder about some practical day-to-day examples we all can consider following. So, like you said, when we're cooking or you're tending to the garden, taking care of children, taking a walk, whatever it is, all that will help us develop or increase that consciousness towards, Sri Krishna.
Still forgot to mention Sudama's little story. Yeah, when Sudama went to meet Sri Krishna, he took a handful of beaten rice tied up in his dhoti, okay? And Sri Krishna was so kind and nice to him, compassionate. He invited him to his room, washed his feet, and then he's asking, "What have you brought for me? What have you brought for me?" And Sudama was hiding it behind. He was very like shameful or shy of what have I brought for him. And Krishna but took that, he saw, and he saw that handful of beaten rice, and he enjoyed it so happily. And when Sudama still couldn't ask anything from Krishna, because Krishna, he's the Paramatma. He's sitting right here in our hearts. He knows what is in your heart. He knows you very well. And when Sudama reached his home, instead of his home, there was a big, beautiful house, and his wife was decked in beautiful clothes and jewelry. And his children were playing so happily in nice clothes. He had all the opulences and luxuries. This is how Sri Krishna says, you offer me little bit. You take one step, he takes 1,000 steps. All that he needs is our loving devotion and pure consciousness. Over to you, Gagan.
Yeah, I think on that wonderful, blissful, and devotional note, we wrap up here. We do look forward to your continued participation and all that collective devotion together. So we'll meet next week, that's Saturday, new month, so 7th September 2024, same time, 8 a.m. Central Time in the US, 6:30 p.m. India time. Till then, thank you so much and Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.